This one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
What if the people running countries or powerful CEOs are actually sociopaths, compulsive liars, or individuals addicted to power and influence? On one hand, we assume that those in such positions act with extreme calculation and precision. But on the other, we're used to associating the word oligarchs with Russia, Ukraine, massive extraction industries, and bribes in rubles. But let's take a look at the United States and Donald Trump's inauguration. The world's top CEOs gathered in one place, shaking hands. You might think their presence alone doesn't mean much, but multi-million-dollar donations toward Trump's inauguration could tell a different story. As longtime U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders once said, the billionaire class already controlling a massive share of the market, and media is now reaching for political power.
Let us understand the gravity of what we are dealing with. This is not politics as usual. This is not just Democrats versus Republicans, conservatives versus liberals or progressives. It's much deeper than that. What we are dealing with right now is that the billionaire class, which owns so much of our economy, which owns so much of our media, they are now moving aggressively to own our political system as well.
Does this mean that global corporations and their CEOs are becoming so influential that in the near future, they'll be the ones deciding the fate of ordinary citizens? Let's take a closer look at how oligarchy works, American style. When Elon Musk took over Twitter in October 2022, the platform initially plunged into chaos. Mass layoffs and a tough ultimatum work in hardcore mode or left triggered a crisis. While the hashtag #RipTwitter gained momentum, users staged a symbolic farewell to the platform, sharing their most memorable tweets and highlights from Twitter's 16-year history. Amid uncertainty about Twitter's future, competing platforms began to emerge, but most failed to stand the test of time. Twitter rebranded as X remains a central hub for discussions, especially around major political and social events. This is despite the fact that active user numbers have dropped by 28% since Musk's takeover. While misinformation and trolling have surged, so what was really behind the decision to buy Twitter? Elon Musk repeatedly stated that his goal was to free the platform from its reliance on advertisers by introducing a subscription-based model. Data cited by Bloomberg suggests that this plan fell short of expectations, according to independent analyst Travis Brown. A year after Musk's acquisition, only between 850,000 and 1.2 million users were paying for the $8 a month premium. Subscription less than 1% of the platform's total user base. This generated around $120 million in revenue, just a fraction of the $4.5 billion the platform was making annually from ads before Musk's takeover. It's important to note that Twitter was already struggling financially before the acquisition. In 2020, the company reported a net loss of $1.1 billion, followed by another $221 million loss in 2021. After Musk's takeover, the situation worsened, not only due to controversial business decisions, but also because of policy changes that drove away many advertisers. The political landscape at the time also played a significant role in shaping business realities. One might reasonably ask, why the hell did Musk buy Twitter if it made no financial sense? The answer to this question took some time to emerge. From Musk's purchase of Twitter to Donald Trump's victory in the US elections, 2 years passed, but only now is the true power of this investment becoming clear. Because this was never really about financial gain, at least not in the short term. Owning such a massive information platform holds a strategic value that is difficult to measure in dollars. Musk has undoubtedly placed one of the biggest bets in modern history. Speaking with Tucker Carlson, he was only half joking when he commented on the possibility of Trump losing. If he loses, I'm finished. Except he put it in much stronger words.
If he loses, man, what? You're fucked, dude.
I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
Musk has put everything on the line, the future of all his ventures, potentially even his personal freedom, and a massive amount of money. Through Platform X, he actively spreads false information about Kamala Harris, migrants, and alleged election fraud. Additionally, Musk offered cash rewards to those signing petitions linked to America PAC. It's fair to argue that Donald Trump might not have won the election without the campaign on XA platform, where, it's worth noting, the now-sitting president had been banned since January 2021, only to be reinstated by none other than Musk himself. Had Harris won, the risk of Musk's downfall would have been considerable. Yet, from today's perspective, it's clear that this was the investment of a lifetime. Musk funneled at least $130 million into supporting Trump's campaign. Simple calculations show that for every dollar invested in Trump, Musk made approximately $540 in return. This means his net worth grew by an astonishing $70 billion during this period. But this investment wasn't about that so-called quick profit. The stakes are far greater power over the most strategically crucial sectors for Musk's businesses. As the owner of Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and X, he aspires to shape the future of humanity. A Neuralink chip in the brain, a robot at home, a self-driving car for commuting, and rockets for Mars colonization. As Financial Times points out, Musk's investments, first in buying Twitter, then in supporting Donald Trump, are nothing less than a gradual takeover of power to shape the environment in which his businesses operate. And here's an interesting detail. Musk himself cannot run for US president, mainly because he was born in South Africa. That makes the role of influencing the country from behind the scenes all the more appealing to him.
The wealthiest person in the world, who spent at least $277 million to elect Donald Trump in a Republican Congress, has now claimed complete ownership of that party. And what he is saying is, hey, Republicans, forget your constituents, forget your constitutional responsibilities. If you don't do what I, Elon Musk, want you to do, you're out of office. And I have the money to do just that.
Musk may hope that his influence over the president and administration will help him navigate challenges such as the growing competition from more affordable Chinese electric vehicles. Tesla could also gain Republican support despite their skepticism toward EVs, while regulators might relax safety requirements for autonomous vehicles. SpaceX and Starlink could secure new contracts with U.S. security agencies. As Financial Times notes, a Trump administration might also refrain from interfering with Musk's radical approach to free speech on Platform X. It's hard to say whether Elon Musk is playing chess or gambling in a casino, but so far, his moves in recent years have proven successful from a business standpoint. The bigger question is whether it's good for a country when business and government become so closely intertwined. But before we dive into that, let's talk about the most American of all Americans in history.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
The man you see on your screen is the former 45th President of the United States, twice impeached, facing 91 criminal charges, yet, at the same time, he is also the 47th President. And you have to admit, it's pretty fascinating how, despite numerous allegations, controversies, and losing the 2020 election, Donald Trump managed to reclaim the presidency. Of course, it's a mix of many factors ranging from the economy and the failures of his opponents to sheer overconfidence. After all, very few people could get away with saying something like this.
My people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Dan McAdams, a professor at Northwestern University's School of Education and Social Policy, and the author of The Strange Case of Donald J. Trump, A Psychological Reckoning, offered a fascinating psychological analysis of Trump in New Lines magazine. In 1962, Harvard psychologist Henry A. Murray described Satan as a being that is both superhuman and inhuman. It's a portrayal that mirrors how many perceive Trump, a charismatic figure driven by ambition and anger, yet seemingly devoid of compassion, self-reflection, and the ability for introspection. Further, we read that Trump sees himself not just as a hero, but as a flawless genius who has never made a mistake. In his world, there is no room for doubt, failure, or a complicated past. His identity is entirely shaped by the the role he constantly plays, the role of a superhero. Both in politics and the media, Trump is, in essence, nothing more than his public persona. Everything else is just an illusion. To his supporters, he is not an ordinary man, but a figure that seems untouchable, almost divine in his unwavering confidence and resilience. The usual standards of decency simply don't apply to him. His public image is straightforward and heroic, making many believe he holds the keys to solving all problems. This bold, singular persona, while attracting massive crowds, comes with its limitations. People are usually far more complex, playing multiple roles throughout their lives. Yet Trump seems to consciously commit to this simple, unchanging identity. It is in this decision that his greatest strength and his potential weakness lies, because this linearity and singularity, according to psychologists, suggests that Trump may have deficits in fundamental human traits, such as empathy. This is precisely what it means to be both more and less than human at the same time. These deficiencies in typical human qualities allow him to govern in an uncompromising, interest-driven manner, free from the constraints of emotional or moral deliberation. Or perhaps not so much governing a country as directing his own spectacle. In this regard, Elon Musk bears a striking resemblance to Trump. He, too, is often described as dehumanized, with a mind that is, so to speak, wired differently. These men don't connect on a human emotional level, the kind we experience in everyday life. In their world, phrases like, "I like you" or "I respect you" simply mean, "I can do good business with you," and it benefits us both. Everything is driven by a pragmatism that is both superhuman and inhuman. So why did Trump win? In one sentence, because he is the most American embodiment of what is quintessentially American. An eccentric billionaire, a multiple-time bankrupt, a man who hasn't always played by the rules. US president who, after a defeat in a failed assassination attempt, rises again and, amid global crises, returns to the White House. It's hard to imagine a figure more mythical and more American. And one thing is certain, Trump knows how to build a legend of power and dominance around himself. And this is confirmed by his relationships with American oligarchs. "Everyone wants to be my friend." These were the words Donald Trump used to summarize his dinner with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos in December 2024. But let's be clear, when Trump talks about friendship, he really means business. After all, it's hard to call his relationship with Jeff Bezos a friendship, considering that during his previous term, Trump openly accused Bezos of monopolistic ambitions. The two men didn't exactly have the best relationship. And today we have an inauguration, with Bezos, of course, in attendance. Trump's relationship with Mark Zuckerberg has also shifted. In January 2021, after Trump spoke favorably about the storming of the Capitol, the Meta CEO banned his accounts on Facebook and Instagram. In response, Trump warned Zuckerberg that once he regained power, he would hold accountable those he claimed were responsible for election fraud. Today, the situation is entirely different. Zuckerberg has announced changes to Facebook's policies.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice.
Of course, this is a purely pragmatic move by Meta's CEO, but it clearly reflects the current trends in American politics. Moreover, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, who was recently at odds with Trump, has now decided to support his inauguration with a $1 million donation. But the line of financial supporters for Donald Trump's inauguration was much longer. According to the New York Times, Trump's inaugural committee raised over $170 million, easily surpassing the previous record set during his first inauguration 8 years ago.
An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead.
Shortly before Trump's inauguration, outgoing President Joe Biden warned that the U.S. was heading toward governance influenced by a tech-industrial complex, calling it outright a new American oligarchy. As a Democrat, Biden was naturally inclined to make such a statement, but his concerns shouldn't be dismissed entirely. The signs of such a shift are significant business leaders are clearly gravitating toward Trump and aligning themselves with his agenda. At Trump's inauguration, the guest list included Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, Google CEO Sundar Pichai, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, Apple's Tim Cook, and, of course, the frequently mentioned Elon Musk, along with many other prominent business leaders. These are the people who contributed the $170 million to his inauguration fund, and this perfectly aligns with the most liked comment under Bernie Sanders' video from the beginning of this episode. The problem in American politics began when big money started being called donations instead of bribes. Should this be concerning? From the perspective of the United States, two major risks emerge. First, the lack of accountability for the actions of powerful CEOs with close ties to the government, though. In this case, enforcing such accountability was already a challenge. Second, unfair market competition. It's obvious that Elon Musk and others like him will lobby for regulations that favor their own businesses over others, shaping policies to benefit their interests rather than fostering a truly competitive market. So perhaps the deep entanglement of business and politics isn't necessarily a good idea, but that's something time will ultimately reveal. Please subscribe World in Depth, and see you in the next episode.